Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we are doing a small half-page spread, and when I show you my journal, you'll know why. But we're working out of 3 books. We're working out of this one, which is Essentiale Backgrounds for Art Journaling, Whispers of Winter, by Marta Lepkowska, Remy's Small Art. We're also working out of bits and pieces of this one here, but I believe it's very little that's coming out of these books. There's not going to be any characters to it, but yet I may have taken part of a background. So there's that book. And then I stole some light bulbs from this beautiful illustration called Whimsical Houses. So I've gotten different areas that I've used out of this book. But today we're using a set of light bulbs that were over a house. So this is the page that I'm working with right here. I did cut out some of these flowers, and this gap right here is the reason why I'm only doing half a page today. So let me scoot it over for you. Okay, so what I wanted to share with you is some things that I'm working on. I have decided to start getting bits and pieces from different books. So what I do, and let me raise you up just a little bit, what I do is I pour over the books and I look for images, not just one page, one character. I look through all the books, and I'll give you an example. And it comes out of this book right here. So say, for instance, and I've made my own side pockets. I did a video where I demonstrated how to cut half a page, and you just glue along the two sides, and then the bottom, and it creates a pocket for your little extras. And I always have little extras. So let's say, for instance, we're going through, and let's say we want the snow dunes from this grouping of houses. So I can cut the snow dunes. I can insert a rabbit or a little elf or a gnome, a fairy, anything like that. Or I can take this grouping of stars, snowflakes, hanging ornaments. I could take this part right here because it goes along with my ruined grouping over here. And I want to add some balance to this side. You can do so many different things. I've already got an idea for this grouping of dandelions. And so I'll be using that in a in a future video. So you can take the bird out of this one. You can take the jar out of this one. You can take the jar out of his hands and replace it with an animal. And on previous videos, I've shown you how to put an animal in someone's arms. Okay. Now you can go through and get bits and pieces of an image. You don't have to use the image itself as is. And Marta herself encourages us to think outside the box. And you don't have to use everything. She doesn't. She'll use a part of a page. Now, this little mushroom was here. And I'm going to show you how I want to insert it into this pot right here. So I did cut it out. And you can insert it on top like this. And that looks perfectly fine. It looks like it goes there. But I'm going to show you how to make it even better. So you see this grouping of berries right here. And let me get you down a little bit closer, and then that way you can see what I'm actually doing. Okay, so this grouping of berries right here, I've already made a pinpoint with my scissors. So I know where I'm going to actually cut. So I'm going to fussy cut around these berries very carefully. And I'm going to go up into this berry and into this berry and around like that. So I'm going to show you the difference between putting the mushroom like this and tucking the mushroom in. Now it's got this flower here, which I may or may not use. So you see you slide it into that slit. And when you bring it up, because the berries in the foreground are in front of the mushroom, it looks like it's growing up out of the pot. So that's the difference. So when you look at your images, I want you to look at your ephemera books, not just for what they are, but look past it. Look for different ways to use different elements. You can cut her out of the scene. You can put her behind a window. You can change out the scene to where you put this little girl in instead of this little girl. You can do all different types of things. You can put this little girl behind the mushrooms. How you would do that is you would cut the mushroom. And let me show you what I'm referring to. You cut the mushroom right here. And then you can slip the little girl in behind. And it looks like she's actually in the mushrooms, like she belongs there. So cut some of your atmosphere to where you can slip something in. And I've done this many times on many different videos to get things to look like they belong. So we've got that mushroom now growing out of that pot. And it adds a bit of whimsy and some color. So there's the difference. You can have it like that, which does look beautiful. It's got your flowers showcased. So this is a good image. But the way I like to do it is I like to make it look like the image is actually growing out from behind some of what was already there. So do you see the difference? Okay. So we're going to be playing with some images today. And if you're not in the right proportion, once I get these books out of the way, then I will adjust the camera. So I use these books, and when I'm feel like I've run out of ideas, I pour over the images again, very carefully paying attention to every single element on the page. Okay. I am going to actually increase the light. Okay. Because it was looking a bit dark. So I'm going to work with this side here, this page. And sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now you can see I've played with some stamping to see how it would show up on the paper. So sometimes I'll turn over some images with the same paper that I'm using for the project just to test or to swatch my materials. Play with your things. Now these are bits and pictures that are inside the books that I used only part of the image, but I fell in love with so much the edges of these pages that I definitely saved them for future projects. So you're gonna get to see me use bits and pieces. I love to use scraps and leftovers because I don't like anything to go to waste. And it also challenges me creatively. Pardon my growling tummy, if any of you heard that. So this is a piece that I will use, but I may use this piece for this side right here. So we'll see how that works out. And I think I need to lift you guys up just a wee bit. Okay, there we go. So you can see the bottom of the page. So what I was doing, if this was off camera, is I was folding this over so that I could tear this edge off. It was a little too long. I will use this scrap as well. I just had a guest show up, and I'll show you him. His name is Oscar. And there he is. Hey, buddy. Oscar. There he is. So he just jumped up on the table with me. He does like to sit on that side that he arrived at. Because he likes to sit there while I'm crafting, while I'm fussy cutting out images, things like that. Okay, now for me comes the fun part. Because I already fussy cut these out. And yes, I separated them for a reason. The original flowers look like this or this, like these. And I fussy cut and separated the bulb out from the leaves. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make these light bulbs bloom. And I have no idea what that noise is. So take your images and use them in ways that aren't conventional. Get into fantasy. Marta even tells us this. She's even done it herself. Get into fantasy and create a world that is not something you see every day. It's not natural. It takes a little bit of creativity to really look at it proper. This is a white jelly roll by Sakura. So I'm just going to make some frosty business right at the base here to cover up that darkness, to make it look like it belongs. So we're making some frosty business, making it look like it's gotten frosty. And some frosty business up here. So your jelly roll pens can go over these images really nice. You can even extend it up a little bit up the side, but you would find snow in anywhere you would have a crease. Okay, so there's that one. And we're going to make another one bloom. Okay, so let's see. So have fun with these. If you're not sure what to do, watch other people's videos. Watch Marta's videos, old ones as well as new ones, and see how she actually worked things out, whether it was something she wasn't quite happy with. Get ideas from other people and then get your own style, or use someone else's style if it suits you. I tell people all the time in my videos, if you want to use this, use it. It doesn't belong to me. Even if I came up with it, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to this one. Make it look like it belongs. Get rid of the dark edge. So play with your things. Add snow where you want to add snow. If there's not enough where you think you want to add it. I've used acrylics and gesso before. I'm not a big mixed media artist. I'm more of an art journalist. But I like to play every now and then. You should have seen me yesterday. Yesterday I was playing with a Christmas gift that I got from Secret Santa. And my hands were literally dark purple. And I've got some jelly roll ink on this finger here, but it's already dry. So how I get ink and stain the distressed inks off my hands is I use fingernail polish remover. It may take some rubbing, but it actually works. Okay, so there is our blooming light bulb number 2. Okay, so now we're going to continue with the building. I've got several things that I want to try because I want to warm up some of these cold areas. of these grays that are there, but I'm not quite sure what I want to do. And I'm going to do that. So don't be afraid to go over images, to tuck images into other ones, to have them go in behind. You could cut a flower strategically in the middle. And when you cut it strategically, you'll know exactly which line to cut. And then you slip a light bulb up in it, and it's inside the flower. So that's something you can do. Take your images and just play with them. And see what works well. See what doesn't. This is off of a back page. And I'll show you what I mean. Marta has back pages that she has an illustration. And this strip is from one of those back pages. It's this part right here. It's so beautiful that, and I've got this piece somewhere as well. It's so beautiful. I've got this one and these side pieces and the tops. They're so beautiful that I don't want to just let them go. So I usually chop up the back pages as well. So, Marta, if you don't want anything chopped up, don't print it, because I'll chop it up. The only thing I won't chop up is Marta. I leave her intact. Okay. Now, this is a piece from up here. I wanted to show more of this light bulb. In fact, I can show even more if I so desire, just by tearing away just a little bit more, and then you see a little bit more of that light bulb. But this is such beautiful imagery that why would you want that to go to waste? So I may place that somewhere to add some interest and bring this back down into here. I don't want to interfere with that beautiful flower that we just bloomed. So I'm going to add it to the tail end of that. And the reason why I've chosen to do that is because this abruptly ends. And this will soften it. So I'm going to bring edge to edge to make it look like it's an extension of that piece right there. But yet it's not. It's totally separate. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put her somewhere. So I love to use the scraps. It challenges my creativity. And sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it can be just quite beautiful. Now this has a straight edge to it. So I want to keep that. So I'm going to add that piece right there. So you add interest to papers by gluing papers over papers, having some tuck in, having some go over. You can tear even more than just what's here. This is really glued down. So you can really tear. With this jelly roll pen, we can add some more snowy edges here. Make it look like there's a snow buildup. You can do all sorts of things to your images instead of just leaving them as is. So we've got a little bit of snow right there. Now this is a piece from a back. She's got some that have music notes on one side, and on the other side there's lace. So on some of these back pages she's got lace. And so I tend to cut those up in bits and then use those bits in other pages. So what I want to do is I don't want to use that whole thing. It's going to cover up strategic parts that I want to show. So I want this apricot pink ribbon right there. So what I'm going to do is you can cut along these scallops and create a beautiful border. You can fussy cut these scallops. You can go straight down the line. You can go straight down the line. Or you can, what I call moving your scissors to make it look like a wiggled edge. There's not a technical term for that just yet. I call it a wiggle cut. So you can wiggle cut. It's the technique I use to create fur where a line is straight, but I'm dealing with a furry animal. So I'll wiggle cut it in sharp angles so that it looks like there's more fur. So you can create texture where texture doesn't exist. So it's one of my favorite things to do is to fussy cut in such a way that it wasn't the original image. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want this straight. I don't want the wiggle cut, but I also want to be strategic. So whatever I cut off, I will use somewhere else. I have categorized my scraps according to color. So that when I need something interesting for a page, whether it be blue or black, purples, greens, I go into that drawer and look through all my green scraps, all my purple scraps, my beige scraps, because I don't like the waste. I see so many videos where they use just the perfect page or the perfect element, and then the rest is just either they do a scrap page on their own off camera. I do those. I filmed some of them where I will do nothing but scraps. So if you're interested in a video like that, they are out there. Okay, so I've got this little bit of peach that I think I want to run along that edge. But I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to only do it down here. So put your things on your page and look at them. Look at what it does, take it away, and look at what it doesn't do. And then you'll see, just like I did just now, where only half of it was going to actually look good on the page. So I'll show you that again so you can see. So this is what it would have looked like had I put the full strip and then I take it away. And I like it better without. So these are the decisions that you make. Now look at that beautiful lacy piece. that you can use somewhere else. You could use it up here if you wanted to. Let's see if that's something I want to do. I am liking that. I am actually loving that. Okay, so let me do that. So see, as I'm talking, I'm looking at stuff to see what it would look like. And I was actually just demonstrating when I saw how good it looked. So treat these strips almost like washi tape, because they can go straight across. And then I'm going to just bend it where the edge is. That's the easiest way to cut it off, especially if your edges are torn like mine are. These pages are hand-torn cotton, so they're a little bit ruffled anyhow. Okay, so let me get some more glue on this end right here. I hope you guys have liked this. It was more of a tutorial of ways that you can really liven up your pages by thinking outside the box. Now I've got these beautiful scraps that I will use somewhere else another time. I've also got this beautiful scrap. I could use this side as well too. So I will decide at that time. And then I have this big girl that is a lacy piece. So I could get real adventurous and cut every single little curve, or I can just cut the curve here. I can go straight across, which I've already done. I could cut into this. I could cut into this, leaving this there. Cut into this from the inside. So you basically would poke your scissors, cut, poke your scissors, cut, poke your scissors, cut. And this would stay intact, and you could tuck in flowers. So do you see what I mean by taking your images and using them a little bit more than what they are? So you could cut along here and along here. You could insert the feet of an animal. You could insert flowers. You could insert berries, whatever your imagery is. But then this flap would come back up over it, making it look like whatever you tucked in actually belongs there. And it makes it really beautiful. So, thank you so much for spending time with me today and listening to me babble on. So this is just a half page. I'll do that other page another time. Thank you so much for joining me, playing with me, and I believe I'm going to title this page Where Light Blooms. So thank you so much for joining me. Subscribe so you can see what I've got up my sleeve next. I've always got something going on. So anyhow, join me, and I will see you on the next one.